Very good evening to everybody. Thank you once again, Bombay CA Association, for inviting me. I think today's topic is a little different compared to yesterday. How do I enhance my productivity using Tally? And there are a few basic things which I want you to take you through. First, I'll speak from an auditor angle, and then I'll probably move in from a professional or a accountant angle. Both of them are pretty handy. Please understand whatever I'm going to discuss. Conceptually, you will be able to get what I'm trying to look into it. And I'll give you a few examples of add-on tools also. These are not the only set of tools. There are many tools like this, but this is just a starting or a trigger point for you. Okay. So on that note, let me quickly get started. So today's agenda, again, I'm keeping all my disclaimers and other things simple and short. Today's agenda, I've kept it very simple. I want to spend a lot of time on Tally audit module. Okay. And how do I do documentation with Tally? There are a lot of things which are available. Of course, there are some customizations also possible, but I want to take you through Tally audit module, spend a good amount of time. From there, we will move into what is other things which as a professional does. We prepare financial statements. So one of the things when we prepare financial statements is, can we prepare it in a much quicker manner? Considering, we have some various activities which we do. The third thing which we'll use is, how do I use the Excel add-on softwares or additional programs to import the data from from Excel to Tally, or reverse, from Tally to Excel. Tally to Excel, already most of us know that if you just go click on export, there is a feature for exporting. But the problem or the challenge is that format many times for your analysis, it becomes very difficult. So that is where we will try to, play around with that. And last is, how can I use few CAD tools, on Tally data and what is possible. So these are a few basic things which I thought I'll take you through. I'll give you a perspective of how these actually work. So I'm presuming my voice, video, as well as my screen is visible. And since I've not heard any comments from any of you in the chat window, I will go ahead and take this further.
Yes, sir. You can go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Thank you so much. So now what I'm going to do, first, I will take you through how do I use Tally as an audit module. I repeat, how do I use Tally as an audit module? So let me quickly take you through Tally directly. And as I always been doing, I focus more on practical perspective instead of showing the theoretical screenshots and other things. But yes, just for the sake of getting started, one screen, just for us to be doubly sure that, we read the theory and then go to practice. So this is the module which you are seeing on the screen. That is what I'm going to look into, audit and compliance. So for that, let me quickly jump into a different screen. And this is Tally. So I'm presuming all of you are able to see my Tally screen. So one of the hidden gems of Tally is this module called as audit and compliance. Okay, so this is a module called as audit and compliance. This is a hidden gem in Tally. Why I say it is a hidden gem? Not many of them, probably there are a good number of people who use it, but not many of them are aware that this can be used for bringing in a lot of simplicity in the way we as a profession work. See, let us understand some background before we enter into this. There are two typical scenarios, two typical clients for us. One set of a client is where he has an invoice management system. Accounting and other things he doesn't bother for various reasons. They're a smaller player. Every month they come to us for accounting. Second scenario, they're very smaller player. They come to us at the year end with their full books, everything saying, sir, please prepare the balance sheet P&L. The third scenario, all of them, or rather, all the accounting is taken care by the client. We only do the finalization, etc. So these are three typical scenarios which we face in a small firms. Now, how can I build upon this logic? What is something which I can build new to solve this particular problem? That is what I'm going to address. Okay. So for that, my dear friends, what I'm going to do is, first and foremost, we open a Tally file. company, we have to open it. There is no complication in this. But the challenge is, many a times when we open a company or create a company, or the client already has a company, we do not look into the security settings. So the moment you have any company, my dear friends, so please press Alt F3, which is your company settings, correct? You go to your or company info, you go click on alter. So the moment I click on alter, I hit enter, the name of the company appears. In my case, I've kept some Sri Krishna, Sri Rama Traders, whatever. Now some basic details are available here. Now what I want you to focus, my dear friends, is look into this option called security control. Of course, we did look into this particular thing in yesterday's session as well. But security control is something which I want you to focus. And if you come down, there is an option called as name of administrator. So the moment you click on security control and if you say yes, you get to choose a username and password. Let us presume you have chosen this username and password. Immediately after this, please look into this option which I am highlighting, use Tally audit features. Please enable this as yes. I repeat, this will be applicable only if I use or if I enable the security control, this option will appear. Earlier version, what Tally did was, if you had an auditor license of Tally, by default, this option used to appear. However, few releases later, the way Tally worked is they did not have a separate auditor version. They did not have a separate client version. Every system has this feature. I'm not sure if you have read in some principles of IS audit or IT audit. There is a concept which I would have made a mention, which is popularly, not only me, anybody would have made a mention. There is something called as an embedded audit module. To a limited extent, I would not say there's a very high level audit module, but to a large extent, this is a wonderful feature. So that is called as Tally audit features. The moment you enable yes for this and just give an acceptance, okay, you are done. Step number 1. Then come back to gateway of Tally. You will find this component called audit and compliance enabled. So once you have come to audit and compliance, please hit enter. You will find 4 options over here: documentation, analysis, audit journals, financial statements. Now this is where I want to spend some time and take you through this. Okay, this is an auditor module within Tally. I repeat, this is a auditor module within Tally. So how does this work? So the moment I go click on audit documentation, okay, there is a beautiful thing called as an audit program. Now, many of us today, we live in a world where regulatory pressure on audit is increasing. At the same time, many of us are questioning the role of auditors, whether it is right, wrong, forget all of this. The only thing which can save us throughout this cycle is the documentation and work papers which we maintain. So why don't we do a simple thing? Because we're using Tally, there itself maintain documentation. What you need to do, go to this module called as audit documentation. You have about 6 to 8 different features over here. Please go ahead and explore. Of course, not immediately after my session is over. The first thing is your audit program. Now, your audit program need not be very, very detailed. You can decide how you want to, and you can sort of export, import, all those things also you can do, or the basic things you can always ask your staff to configure. What you need to do, first, set and alter client details. So you just say yes. Immediately it will tell you who is the audit firm. So I will write KEN and Co. I will use some details and I just mention Bangalore and I'll mention ABC, and this detail is getting set. And who are my audit team? This is where you can mention your audit team's details. Who is your audit team? Basically your staff, your article A, B, C, X, Y, Z, whomever you have assigned, put that person. Okay, so this becomes a sort of a record for you. Once it is done, put of course, the name of the client is obviously appearing, phone, mobile number, everything appears. Industry type, if you want, you can do it. This you can link it with your ROC, whatever details if you want to. But basically put in these information, and to some extent your first version of what is called as the permanent record file to certain extent gets created. The moment this is done, you have completed one exercise. Then there is a list of items which you can see over here. You can see balance variations, cash, bank book watching, cash book watching, check outstanding balances, prepaid, credit note, debit note, a whole lot of things you can find it over here, my dear friends. This is what I would suggest you to configure. Now, this is where this lockdown period, you can use it more effectively, where you can figure out, can I improvise my existing process? Because please understand, elsewhere when I speak about business transition, business strategies, how business is going to shape up. I thought, how my profession is going to shape up after Corona, that also have to analyze. So today we are going to have two eras, before Corona and after Corona, like how we had before death, after death, things like that. So we may probably have the post-Corona age, hashtag post-Corona age for youngsters. So we are talking about these challenges which will come up. Now, in this case, the only way a professional firm can succeed is, how can I do more in less? How can I do more in less? And everybody wants more in less. Don't you think so? You go to a Pani Puri store, you want an extra puri. You go to a Vada Pav store, you want an extra pav, whatever it may be. We want that always that extra is there, correct? But the same thing when it comes to our profession, can I do more work in limited time? This is one classical case. Spend half an hour, you yourself can decide what are the areas you are looking into Tally. Put in a simple checklist. What all you intend to do? Bank coaching I have to do. I have to do cash book coaching. Check outstanding prepaid credit balances. Now, advantages, if you set this up, even your article staff can go log in and say, yes, 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 completed. It becomes a checklist, correct? So this is basically what you do. So assuming I'm choosing checking outstanding prepaid, or let us say bank book coaching. I choose bank book coaching. How many days required? I roughly think 2 days are necessary. Very good. Now, how much is the actual days I've spent? I have spent 1.5 days. The moment I've spent, how much have I verified? Maybe I have verified 75%. I have done sampling, right? So I would have done that. And who verified it? Mr. Akbar verified it. And I just say end of the list. Verification remarks. You put in something. All transactions seem to be normal. Correct? You just enter this information. So the basic thing is being taken care of. Correct? The moment you do this, then you say, who is the person who is reviewing this particular transaction? So you can set those information reviewed by whoever, or if you want to add a person's name, you definitely can add that and put in this and just say review remarks over. Now, the beauty of this is you can have a track of this entire system in a span of quick view. And most important, you can export this, my dear friends. Don't you think when you're exporting this, you are keeping a version, it becomes all the more easy for you to have your Tally documentation? The answer is yes. So for simplicity's sake, I have created one folder where I will put in all of those. So just give me a minute. I will just push in that data into the folder so that you are able to view everything at one shot. All right, 2020. So let's see how the output looks like. So it's basically trying to export this, and you can define various configurations. You can add in more things. Now it's left up to your imagination, but this is typically how you get started. So what are the key tips which I would like to mention over here? Tip number one is, for all our clients, I think it is time we bring in some standardized process. When I use the word standardized process, I am referring to a setup where, come what may, we will follow consistently certain steps. And that is where, my dear friends, you have a beautiful thing or a beautiful setup, so that irrespective of whatever happens, you have a consistent procedure. So look at this, what happened. Let us see our audit documentation, how beautiful it has come up. See, you have one entire template, and all that you have to do is maybe do some bit of formatting, XYZ. Now, don't you think tomorrow our firm comes across a peer review, our firm undergoes certain sort of additional third-party verification? By merely having this, they will say, hey, you know what, I did this process. And the other challenge which most of us face is, we have done the work in our office, but we don't know who did the work. Correct? This will all are the basic things which will, sort of help us out to solve this particular problem. Okay, so this is how the sheet looks like. So this is how the sheet typically looks like. And you can see that, how powerful or how simple dashboard it is given, but you still have the remarks and contents. Now quickly moving to understand the next feature. I've come back to Tally screen once again. So you can again go and create new features. Say for example, 44 AD verification. Add something new. Again, see how much you want to spend. This becomes a new item. So it is left up to your imagination. This is the first point which I wanted to take it. Second, many a times we spend time and keep preparing an audit report in Word format. We should know that the audit report is already available within Tally itself inbuilt. Now, all that you need to do, my dear friends, is basically configure this. Of course, they've configured this with 1956 Act. You need to update it. This is a default feature which you have. Just go click here. You can go and make the modification. So the moment you say we have audited the balance sheet of so and so and etc., this becomes a simple report. All that you have to do is just click on export, and again you have the data available. You will be able to easily take it. Correct. So this way, what happens? You're saving time in preparing audit report, and you can obviously copy paste and put in. Can I add more clauses? Can I remove more clauses? All of them are possible. You just have to go spend a minute or two, add clause, delete clause, modify the clause. So the question is only we have to take that additional attempt. Okay. Moving further, quickly to the next thing, you also have the annexures of Caro. Okay, so the annexures of Caro is available. Again, please note, this is the older version of Caro. You can go ahead and click on any of these items and add all of them. You can also create a working paper reference. Who has done it, what is being done, various things like that. You can go ahead and create a working paper reference. So these are few options available. Let's say fixed asset. I go click on maintenance of record. Look at this. Did we know that this much detailed work paper is available in Tally? Forget even if you didn't have a feature, you just have to go ahead and use this. Correct? So that's basically how wonderfully it is done, so that it will improvise and so that you're able to take care of it. Fair enough. Okay, so this is basically how the work paper is. Again, you have a feature to export it. You can write your remarks, etc. Now, some people saying, sir, can I take this work paper and customize in some other software? You have all possible options available. The question is only how you want to use it at the end of it. Okay, so this also you can export it. Let me see whether I have that folder ready. Yes. I just export and I have one more report ready. So if you remember earlier, we just exported the audit report. So let's see how the audit report looks like. I don't think that has come up. Give me a minute because I've kept a few files open so that I have to show you multiple demos. And since I'm doing it live, it may take a little time. Okay. So look at this. Of course, I've not configured anything, but you can see how the report is. Now you just have to spend a few minutes in, sort of configuring this or, doing some bit of basic formatting, which anybody in your office will be able to do it. And they also mention the name of the company to the members of name of the company. Correct. So they speak about the address. So your only question is, how do you want to customize it? To some extent, this information is available. Okay. So with this, we have got this idea. So let's go, take it further. I spoke about annexure to the Caro. Let's quickly see the annexure to the Caro, how it looks like. Of course, formatting will definitely be some concern, but it is nothing for us to worry too much about it. So you can find that, all these basic checklists are appearing. Your remarks also, you can put it over here. So your Caro becomes ready. Correct. So this is how you can spend time within this particular file itself and see how, or by using this particular tool itself and see how best you can save time on this. So I'm ignoring the saving feature. Again, as I told you, work paper also you can export. All of these are possible. Clause wise work paper you can export. Maybe bulk of export feature may not be there. You may have to export it clause wise so that you have a track of it. So this is the first thing which I wanted to take you through in terms of documentation, and it's not very complicated to set this up. If Caro 2020 comes in, you just have to spend a few minutes in configuring this and you have the software. Okay, so let's quickly look into accounting standard compliance. Now, many of the times we are little skeptical for my company whether accounting standard is applicable or not. The whole lot of things also can be configured within this accounting standard checklist. You just have to say yes, compiled, no, and give the remarks, observation or deviation, something relating to that, just give it as a comment. So what happens is you are able to, sort of figure out where exactly this position. Okay, so just say not complied. Now things like this, and of course you can always go ahead. Next, standard on auditing. Please note they have made the nomenclature or cross-referencing to SAS 200 and AAS as well. But today we all know that AAS are no longer there. Those who have recently qualified, I'm sure you would realize that you don't know what AAS is. AAS is what we had prior to the SA, correct? The standard on audit. Then you also have working paper at all levels. This is what we already saw. So Mr. Ramesh has done some working paper of unsecured loan. What is the situation? Who has audited it? So this is just to give you wherever earlier places we updated work paper, here you will get the overall this thing. So anywhere we go and update the work paper, it will appear here. Working paper can be for vouchers. Working paper can be for masters. Working paper can be for the company as a whole. Okay. Next is beautiful reports. MSME, it depends upon the configuration. If the configuration is done, you can create member wise, you can create any this thing, you can create who is basically entering all this information. Then you can have periodical payments and receipts. Is there somebody who is, is this a periodical ledger? So basic pay, this is all based upon the configuration done in Tally. If the configuration is not done in Tally, these things will not be applicable. Okay. And also I can have the sampling methods. I can create the ledger. What is the methods I have? I can make a mention of all of these things. So this is the first thing which I wanted to cover with respect to the audit documentation. The second thing which I feel, assuming you feel that, documentation, we have our own style, etc. Very good. The powerful thing which I feel, one single powerful thing is this audit analysis. Okay. So the second option is audit and analysis. Under audit and analysis, my dear friends, you have about 6 to 7 different options. The first one is verification of chart of accounts. Now, why this option is important and how this helps you to have a structured audit. This is basically, my dear friends, which will verify what are the changes or what are the issues which has happened in the list of ledger names only. Let us look into this. Accounts squared off during the year. There is no way you can identify this particular report, unless you do a whole lot of analysis, or you have to go to your trial balance, display basically opening balance, debit, credit. You apply a formula, is debit is equal to credit, and there is no opening and closing balance. Only then you can identify. Look at this. At one shot, I can get to know what are all the accounts squared off. What is account squared off? Basically, the debit I created, credit correspondingly I passed in it. So these accounts are normally the pass-through accounts. Through these accounts, they just pass it so that people are not actually noticing it. So the moment I go click here, you can see the number of ledgers which are there, and most important, what is the debit and credit. Can you notice here? So I'm able to see the entire debit and credit over here by merely going through this. And now I understood that computer junction, why is this particular item having a trouble? Now I can make my comments over here. This is on hold, to be checked with client. And look at this. This is a beautiful thing. Copy audit details to work paper. If you say yes, the moment you say yes, if you see the previous screen, I showed you one option called as work paper. There this will appear. Correct. So you can see a whole lot of things. Now, what are the popular accounts which can come over here, or what are the ledgers which normally get squared off? Sometimes salary to related parties gets squared off through this. Sometimes if they don't want to show an item under to the auditors, it will come here. Or many a times payments to creditors. I would have debited expenditure, credited the creditor, then debit the creditor, payment cash. Maybe that creditor will never get, if I go to the balance sheet, I'll not be able to figure it at all. But if I go here, I'll get to know who are all those ledgers which have been squared off. So this is a quick way for me to identify. Of course, we have to use our intelligence to figure out what is permitted, what is not permitted, what is an exception, etc. So this is something at first level. Second, those ledgers which have not been used at all. In my experience, and I'm sure in your experience, of course, mine is very tiny. I may probably have about 10 years of a decade of experience in this. Prior to that, of course, articleship, if I can consider, maybe about 12 or 13 years. But yes, if I consider purely based upon all of our experience, one of the entries which the client never passes or always forgets to pass, I'm sure you've got it, audit fee entry. Now, how do I know whether I've passed audit fee entry or not, or which are the ledgers which I have not touched during the year? This you will give you at one shot. Look at this. Opening balance also is 0 or closing balance also is 0. Correct? It gives you one total perspective. Sorry, this is not opening balance, closing balance 0. It is basically the ledger accounts which have not been touched during the year. Now you can get to know if I have regular payments, commission, expenditure, etc. At one shot, you can verify. This is how you do a chart of account verification. Fortunately or unfortunately, some of these features may or may not have been built even in certain cloud-based accounting software, which has been already there in time. Next, this is one more very interesting thing. Only balances, but no transaction. I repeat, only balances, no transaction. So I have 13 ledgers where only balances are there, but there are no transactions. That means what? These are all opening balances carry forward. If a fixed asset has not been added during there, it will appear here, no problem. If your current liabilities appear over here, it means you need to relook into whether is it or your trade payables, then the very classification of current and non-current you have to look into. If your loans are appearing here, you should probably look into it. And you can, you will get this entire thought process, or you will be able to see this entire thing for a full year. So you get an idea. One more case where only balances, no transaction could be debtor. Debtor balance is there, he's not paid. You are saying write off, the client is saying no, let's hang on, etc. Next, this is one very strange nomenclature. Revenue ledger having opening balance. One must be wondering, why will a revenue ledger have an opening balance? This is basically happening because they would have regrouped, one of these ledgers after the year end. See, when you regroup an asset as a liability, liability as an asset, obviously the profit will have an impact, correct? So the moment you look into it, here what they have done, prepaid insurance. Now what has actually happened is, prepaid insurance should have been an asset. So last year it was an asset. This year that accountant, what he did control enter and just went and modified that particular thing. Instead of putting as prepaid asset, he put it as a P&L. Correct? So somebody would have told that fellow boss, this should go to P&L. So instead of passing an entry to transfer it to P&L, the ledger itself is transferred. I'm sure we have encountered all these, small mistakes which we would have seen. And last, interesting thing, used only in current year. Beautiful thing. Only those ledgers which are used in the current year will come here. Correct? Or which are all the ledgers which may have had an opening balance, but they have transacted during the year. So this is a beautiful way in which you can get to know. Correct? So now you can decide what you want to verify, what you don't want to verify. The choice is yours. Correct? So I hope all of you got the clarity. This is one which is basically verification of chart of accounts. Likewise, you can also verify for stock items. It depends on stock whether you have or not. Negative stock, stock which is not used only in current year, various things like this. I'm not going to spend too much time, but I hope you got the trick. Next comes verification of balances. Now I want to verify, no doubt I want to have a control what I have verified, what I have not verified. Many times we keep on redoing that work. So what you can do is click on this, see these balances. This is no doubt a trial balance only. Okay, if you see this particular screen, it's exact a trial balance. Right? I can just expand and I can see a whole lot of things. But only thing is the view is a little different over here. I can go ahead against each of them, go and pass the entries or debit or credit. Correct? So that is the advantage which I have. For example, I have capital account and I go to subscribe capital. There is one entry over here. Now, if you see this, the entry says 20 lakh rupees, the entry is being passed. So I want to check what is this on hold, altered, newly created, whatever is there. I can just mention a note and I can go. So this is a quick way in which line by line trial balance you can give up. Give me a minute. Sorry, I keep sipping a lot of water. On an average, I'm doing at least about 3 webinars in a day, 2 to 3 webinars in a day. So 6 hours I talk. You can imagine what is the toll. Anyways, okay. Quickly moving, analytical procedures. What is this analytical procedures? Your standard on auditing also says that an auditor will have to do analytical procedures. Basically ratio analysis. One simple analysis you can do is item to item or group to group. For example, if you have interest income, divide the interest income on an average by your FDs or investment. You have interest payment, divide the interest paid by a particular thing. So you can choose, but only challenge is the comparison over here is restricted. It is not ledger to ledger. It is a type of a category to category. For example, cost category to cost category, a particular ledger to a particular ledger. So you can divide various types. And let's say if I choose ledger to ledger, I have to choose the ledger interest, interest account. I don't know whether it has balance. Compare with loan. Correct? I can do this. So it gives me a ratio. Here, there is no transaction. So probably nothing is appearing here. Correct? So that is basically what analytical procedures can do. At one shot, it can give you various things instead of you sitting and doing all these calculations. Now, those of you who are doing bank audits, my dear friends, these are all things which you can easily do. It will help you to save a whole lot of things, which is possible. Okay. Next comes your pending documentation. You can figure out which are the documents which are pending, which are not pending, etc. You can go ahead and configure this. You can decide MSME files, who are all my MSMEs, what is the default credit period, all of those you can go and click it. You can group them. Now you can get to know at a one shot who are all your details. Next comes statutory payments. Statutory payments are basic tax payments. This is again provided you have configured the tax statutory module. 70 to 80% of the tally files, these configurations are not there. Next comes your periodic receipts and payment. Again, one more powerful function, which will basically say which are all the accounts or transactions which happens regularly. But please keep in mind, this is only if you have configured it as periodicity. If periodicity is not configured, this becomes difficult. So what in that case you have to do, you go to repeated transaction. So periodic payments is based on configuration. Repeated transaction is what they've already based upon tally itself identifies. So let me spend a minute or two here, especially repeated transactions. You can get to know at one shot, one transaction, how many times it is repeated. Now you know roughly how many times bank charges should be there, how many times interest should be there, how many times rent should be there. And anything outside this particular combination, you know what entry is passed, what entry is not passed. Correct? So at one shot, you can get to know all of this. You can also get to know which month it is passed, which are the months where there is a trouble, etc. etc. Correct? If you look into employer PF contribution, only 8 months is appearing. That means only 8 months the entry is passed. Then you have some HDFC OD account. Maybe those are again general comments also, general scenarios also could be there. Let's look into some ledger called Group 4 securities. So all these things appear. Okay, so these are few things on repeated transactions. Then comes a very, very interesting and a powerful function. There is, in fact, some people call it as a data analytics function. Some people call it as a statistical function. Some people call it as a forensic investigation function. Whatever it may be, it definitely gives some insights. And that function is called as relative size factor. Relative size factor is an example or a scenario or a thing where the first highest number and the first highest number of a particular ledger is divided by the second highest number of a ledger. I repeat, first highest number of a ledger is divided by the second highest number in that particular ledger. Say, for example, the highest ledger was 50,000 in a particular rent account. The ledger was 50,000 rupees. The second highest was 48,000 rupees. It will divide 50,000 by 48,000. And that number is called as a relative size factor. For example, if I quickly log into this, it normally takes a few seconds because this has to calculate. Let us quickly see what it is. Relative size factor. Look at this, depreciation on air conditioner. It is the first one. And look at the relative size factor, 612.99. That means what? The ratio of the first highest number and second highest number. See, generally, transactions tend to be in a particular sequence. I repeat, generally, transactions tend to be in a particular sequence. When they are in a particular sequence, my dear friends, this is typically, or this is how these are getting routed, debit, credit, whatever is that. But if the second item and the third item is extremely high, okay, more than the second and third item, if the first item and second item is extremely high variation, it may be a reason for suspicion. And that is what relative size factor does. A relative size factor takes the ratio of the fastest to the second. So let me look into depreciation on air condition. The moment I click this, it tells me, look at this. RSF for first is 9,91,999 and the second highest number is 1,617. Don't you think it is suspicious? So if I closely look into it, here you can get to know this is the transaction. And if those of you are able to remember, carefully, if I click this entry, I am sure if you will be able to recollect something, this is the entry we passed yesterday. I'm using the same tally. So this is the entry we passed yesterday for the purpose of just showing, various remote entry transaction. This is the entry I passed, correct? So this is how that number, look at the first highest number, look at the second highest number, see the ratio. It is significant, extremely high. And that is what you get to know by looking at this. If I go one step further, let us look into, no doubt that was a jovial thing, but this is where you can understand purely from an audit angle. Look at this expenditure, electricity charges office. See what is the amount? 13.39. Now let's investigate 13.39. Let's just go here. Look at the transactions. All the transactions on an average is around 4,000 to 5,000. But look at this transaction, 75,000 rupees. If I move here, I get to know a ratio called 75,000 divided by 5,600, 13.39. Now one must be thinking, boss, for 13 times, why should I investigate? But don't you think this gives you a good idea between 75,000 and 5,600? Now, immediately if you look into it, if you are an experienced auditor, you will definitely say, boss, there has been some mistake here. What is the mistake? Maybe that 75,000 should have been going to some other ledger, it is coming here. Maybe that is electricity deposit, it has been booked as electricity charges. Maybe it is 7,500 rupees, I added extra 10, therefore it is appearing here, correct? So all that I have to do is hit shift or press shift enter, I get to know what is the narration. Please look into the narration, it says purchase of generator, correct? So don't you think at one quick shot you can identify these things? And these are very, very handy whenever you have to identify, exceptions like this. And my suggestion, my dear friends, whenever you're doing this audit, forget about rest of it. Just take this particular Excel sheet and export. Or wherever you have suspicion, just take this, export it. And you need not even to sit and do all the exporting. Ask your article staff to do. They will quickly start extracting all of this. Don't you think how much time you're saving when you're doing this? And most important of all this, you are having a good audit work paper. Your quality of audit can improvise, correct? So this is how we can try to, sort of safeguard. So that is basically relative size factor. If you ask me, this is one of my personal favorite. Any webinar I go, anything which I do, if I'm asked to speak about audit or automation or analytics, compulsory I'll speak on RSF. Because that is the power of this. Now you can prepare much more multiple variants of it based upon this. You can prepare RSF using second highest and third highest and fourth highest. But again, largely I think first to second will serve the purpose. Second, you can also prepare maximum size factor or a range size factor, dividing the highest and the lowest, ratio of highest is to lowest. That may also give you different results. But the logic which I want to drive you, my dear friends, is by deploying certain tools or analytic things like this, you can save a huge amount of time. At the same time, your work paper is also taken care. Okay. And then you have other analysis, interbank transactions. You have your cash withdrawals and deposits to bank. This is important because what if there has been some, fraud or something which has happened? Fixed asset analysis, depreciation, addition. I'm not sure many of them are aware. Look at this number of days I can calculate from this. How many of them are greater than 180, lesser than 180, those basic analysis you can do, correct? So you have all this information. So all this is available, my dear friends. The question is only how do I try to configure it? Okay, so I can go exceptions, identify what these exceptions are. I have additions, double click on these additions, do these analysis. Okay. Next, transactions on holiday. That also you can identify, provided holiday has been configured into your system, and configuring holiday is not too complicated. You can easily do it. Highest and lowest value transactions. If you remember, I already told you, range based transaction. Look at this. Again, I have my accumulated depreciation who's taken the first position. Or maybe, okay, so this basic, because it's in alphabetical order, but you can always, display this report or export in Excel, show it in this thing, or you can give me a range, I can do a filter, all these things are basically possible, but it's only the question of how much you want to. So if I go click F12, I have a sorting method. Many of them again do not use this. I don't say are not aware, they do not use it. So sorting method, I can do a sorting method as well. Then comes pending advances, any advances which is been under loans and advances, stale check, external confirmation. This is for you to get a confirmation if there's a debit and credit balance. There are so many third-party softwares which are available, right? Which is saying that we give you external confirmation, etc. There's also a simple thing where it gives you the balance. You just write, okay, whether confirmed, not confirmed, etc. And then is account level reconciliation. Okay, so these are basically what is available, and you also can decide how much is the voucher percentage you want to verify, what is the vouchers you have audited, for example, attendance vouchers, how much you want to verify. You have all the attendance vouchers, whether you want to, what is the status of this. So it's the question of only of how you intend to use it. My suggestion is, because you have a good amount of time immediately after the session is over, just explore this module. You will get a lot of insights. And then one more tip I would say is this concept called audit journals. Okay, many of them are not aware that audit can, at the time of audit also, we pass a lot of entries. But the problem is my version of Tally has got so many entries. The client version of Tally has got so many entries. How do I know which are the entries I have passed? There is no way to track it. Instead of doing all those, just come to audit journals and pass the journal entry here. The same thing. You just do an audit, whatever is the basic, just click on audit journal. There's going to be a journal. You can find it over here, used for finalization, debit, profit and loss account, 100, credit, capital account. Okay, this is a company, so I have to choose reserves and surplus, or I just choose other reserves, and say transfer. So this entry will be tracked through separately. The advantage is whatever entries auditor passed can be easily tracked here. Okay, and then financial statements, I think there is not much of a difference over here. This is basically your balance sheet P&L. Your schedule 3 will appear here. That's the only difference. So your typical schedule 3, you can go do your classification configuration. This most of you are using, so I'm not spending too much time here. But this is something which I'm not sure whether you're using. Additional information with respect to disclosure of this information. While I agree, it may not give you a foolproof or absolutely the format in which you want, but definitely it is a good trigger point. Okay, so this is something which I thought I'll take you through from an audit module and documentation standpoint. And quickly moving further, these are the features which I told you. I'll take you to the next step, preparing financial statements using SQL and SUMIF. Okay, so let me just give you a couple of demos so that you get an idea. So we all know Tally. Tally has got this, general features which is there. But did you know this place in Tally, which is popularly called as calculator, can be used to write SQL scripts? The answer is yes. You can use SQL scripts and you can write them in this particular calculator. Now what you have to do over here is, you should know what is the command. Now for that, knowing the command, you don't require too much complicated things. See, today we ask, okay Google, can you tell me what the temperature is? Okay Google, can you tell me what the time is? Can we tell, okay Tally, please tell me what is my cash balance? Shall we try? Okay. So I am telling Tally, okay Tally, tell me what is my cash balance. Are you all ready? So I have just typed the word cash and I hit enter. See what I get, what happens? I get the cash balance as on 31st March 2030. Okay Tally, can you tell me the bank balance? I get the bank balance. See, Tally is also speaking with me. Now I go to the next stage. Okay Tally, can you tell me the current liabilities? Look at this. It is able to tell me everything. Forget that. If there is a particular ledger, display accounts ledger, let's say there is one All India Computer Institute. Okay, I don't know whether this has balance. Okay, let's see. There is some balance and transactions. It's roughly around 4,65,000. All India Computer Institute, correct? So what I do over here is go to Tally and say, okay, Tally, All India Computer Institute. Look at this, entire balance at one shot. Correct? So this is the power of SQL query, structured query language. Tally uses a SQL setup so that you are able to retrieve or take any queries. It is able to give you this. Now the same Tally, I ask it, hey Tally, can you tell me which are all the ledger accounts in my system? So for that, you have to change your system. You cannot just type ledgers, because if you type ledger, it will say there is no account by the name ledger. So here you have to change the logic what you follow. So let me take you through that. Okay, so I will say select $name from ledger. Can you find this? What have I written? Select $name from ledger. The moment I hit enter, see what happens? I get all the names of the ledgers. I go to one more stage, the same thing I do, but now with the difference. Select $name, comma, $parent. And from what table I require? Tally maintains multiple tables. One such table is a table called as ledger. The moment I hit enter, let's see what happens. I get the name, I get the parent. Okay, can I go to the next level? If I have name and parent is okay, don't you think I'll require balance also? Yes. So let's try that. So again, I go back to the equation here. Select $name, $parent. I just insert one comma here. Hopefully it will work. And say $closing. No space. Please note that no space. Select $name, $parent, closing balance from ledger. Gilly magic. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here it is. Gilly magic. What did I get? Name, parent, and closing balance. Now the beauty is not in this, my dear friends. The beauty is, what if I told you this is available in Excel, not by exporting over here, This is available in Excel. I need not export. Without exporting, I can use a SQL script whereby Excel and Tally will now start speaking with each other. Once Excel and Tally speaks with each other, all that I have to do is I keep on clicking refresh in Excel. Automatically the data from my Tally comes and sits over there. Don't you think it's such a wonderful system? This is how corporates have configured their SAP. This is how corporates have configured their Oracle, where I'm sure some of you would have noticed, one fellow, he opens one Excel sheet, right click, presses refresh, entire data appears. How? It is basically using structured query language. Shall we learn how that works? Let's quickly go to that. So now I'm going to an Excel sheet. Of course, okay. So these are all my annexures to Caro, which opened up earlier. I think, we were discussing this, right? So these, I don't require them now. Yeah, this is also the records. Of course, formatting is an issue. We all agree with that. We all have known and used the Tally for a good amount of time. So formatting is an issue, but nevertheless. Okay, now I am opening that Excel sheet where I intend to use structured query language. Okay, so I've opened a fresh sheet. Now what I do, my dear friends, is I go to this tab called as data. The moment I go click on data, there is an option called get data. I click on get data. Please note I am using Office 365. So mine, or Microsoft 365 it's called today. So mine may slightly be a little different compared to what you folks are seeing in your office. Okay, maybe if you're using the same version or little different version, options might change, but nevertheless this option is there. Go to data, from there go to get data, from there go to other sources. In that, please click on Microsoft query. The moment I click on Microsoft Query, one small window will appear like what you see on the screen. Under this, I go click on Tally ODBC 64_9000. Just click OK. Now it will tell you I am trying to connect to the database, and a message like this will pop up. Query wizard. Under this query wizard, you will find multiple things lined up. This is nothing but the list of tables maintained by Tally. Look at the number of tables Tally maintains. My goodness, you can't even imagine. This is the number of tables, or the quantification how Tally is being structured. Now all that I do is I just type the letter L. It'll take me to LBT classification. Come down, I have a ledger. I have something by name ledger. Now under that ledger, I just click the plus mark. I have all things which is basically from that ledger table which appears. Now I type $N. The name appears. I just say, please come to the right hand side. Then what I tell, $P. Pin code appears. Again I have to type. Price level appears. Again I have to type parent. So I am just choosing parent, right click. And then I choose $_ closing balance. It appears. Can I say these three information has come? Now what I do, I just push next. The names appear here. Go click on next. Sort by, I can choose which method I want to sort by. Currently I don't want to do anything. I just go click next. And it asks me, do you want to save the query? I can say save the query. Okay, you can save with whatever name, it will just get saved. The advantage of saving is next time you need not do the same exercise again. Okay, so you just say return to the data and just say finish. Now automatically what it will do, it will point towards $A1, which is basically the first cell in the Excel. I click on OK and see what happens. In a click of a button, entire thing from my Excel or from my Tally came into Excel. Now the beauty is I can do various sort of reports over here. I'm not sure if you are aware, I can insert an option called a slicer. This is a feature which is there in Excel subsequent version. I can just choose a slicer called as closing balance, or I can choose a closing balance parent. Only those reports can appear. For example, let me edit it. I think I chose too many things. I just chose a slicer over here. Now I want to see only the accumulated depreciation. Look at this. I want to see only bank account. I want to see bank OD only. I want to see only capital account. I want to see capital as well as bank account. Correct? You can click and choose both of them and it appears. And I obviously want everything, remove the field. So this is a powerful feature of slicer. This is an Excel feature. This is not a feature of your Tally. But what I did over here, my dear friends, I got the entire data over here at one shot. Of course, here you need to understand how to interpret the negative and positive. Once or two times if you use it, you will get used to this. The beauty is not this. The beauty is, if I go back to my Tally, I repeat, if I go back to my Tally, remember one entry which we passed yesterday, correct? Where we passed it. What is the entry? I think it was accumulated depreciation on air conditioning. This 99. Now let us presume I change this to 900. Okay? Or I'll make it as 999. Okay? And here I will now write rectified entry in session 2. The moment I hit enter, this is done. Now what is my closing balance of accumulated depreciation? Please look here, 5233. What I do is I come back to the sheet. Please look at this balance. What is this balance? I'll just copy the balance and put it over here so that you're aware of it. Okay. I right click this. Repeat, I right click this. Just refresh, see what happens. Can you see the difference? My data is getting refreshed simultaneously. All that I have to do is click refresh. Now the beauty is not in this, my dear friends. The beauty is, can I use this entire thing and link it to my financials? Yes, that is possible. For that, I go to insert, I create a pivot table. Now this is basically Excel. So from table, I use a pivot table. And what I do in pivot table is, I obviously require closing balance. So I drag in the closing balance in the value. I drag the name of the ledger in the rows. This is simple. But what is very interesting is I can also draw the parent name. Okay. So most of you, when you draw parent name and ledger name, it will not come next to each other. It will come one below each other. I have configured my pivot to always show me what is called as classic pivot. Okay. So I can also decide whether I want to move this up and down. So, I can just move this up and down. Now look at this. I get an entire overview of my trial balance. Now what I do, I have my financial statements. All that I do is, assuming hypothetically fixed assets, I go click on fixed assets is equal to, go to my sheet, just my sheet 4, sorry, I think it is my pivot sheet, right? Yeah, I have a pivot sheet. Okay, one of the sheets, whichever I've chosen, I think sheet 5. Just go here and link this item, example, accumulated balance. Now, the moment I link it, my dear friends, every time an entry gets passed, okay, in accumulated depreciation, let us presume now I change it to 4 9s, the entry is updated. Now, obviously, this amount should get updated. So let's come back to my Excel sheet, which is my sheet 3. Look at the number. Let us see what the number was. I think this was the sheet. Right click, refresh. The sheet is getting updated. This become 1423. Correct. Now I have the pivot, which is linked to this. Where is that? I think it is in sheet 5. So I will quickly check which sheet it is, because I have opened multiple sheets. I've just lost track of it. Just to, oh, okay, sorry. I think this is the sheet. I have to refresh. Refresh the sheet. Then I come back to sheet 5. Refresh the sheet. So here the number is changed to 457135. And I quickly go back to my balance sheet. Automatically the number is changed. Can you find the difference? Earlier total was 448. I just done a Control Z. For your benefit, I have just written the value, correct? And all that I do is I go to my pivot sheet, which is this, and just refresh. Then what happens? My balance sheet, can you see the difference? How much time did I take? Very less. This requires only one-time configuration and sincere efforts on your end to how you can prepare the financial statements. Going forward, entire thing can become consistent and very quick. So that is something which I thought I will share it with you. So this is basically how you prepare financial statements using what is called as your SQL. Next thing which I thought I'll share with you is how to prepare financial statements using our SUMIF. Okay, so let me quickly open the test data for that. You'll have to give me a minute. Financials using SUMIF. Now, this is not a too complicated thing, some solution which most of us are aware. If you feel all these things is complicated, all that you have to do, my dear friends, is take your trial balance, extract it into Excel. The moment you extract it into Excel, you have column A to E which will appear. This is nothing, just same traditional approach. Then you add one column called as grouping, and you just put the amount over here. Just put the amounts over here. From there, I use a SUMIF. Look at this. I use a SUMIF, and I'm just zooming so that you are able to see the formula of SUMIF, or it is available here. I say SUMIF, please go to the trial balance revised and choose column FF and take the sum total of column CC. What is that? Which is nothing but go to the trial balance, check the total of FF or nomenclature, and then take the total of CC. So I basically do is equal to SUMIF, correct? I choose what is my range. Where is my range? The range is over here, correct? This is my range. The moment I choose this, I tell the system, please tell me what is the criteria. My criteria is given over here. Okay, biomedical waste expense, assuming. And then I have to give my amount range. What is my amount range? This column. I just close it. Now it will say no, because nothing is appearing under biomedical waste. Now let's presume I just type this biomedical waste over here. Okay, see what has happened? Automatically 2 lakh is reflected. Can you find this difference? Correct. So this is what is a advantage of it. And from here, you just have to go to your notes to accounts, schedules, etc. and just cross-refer to this particular statement. So this is the powerful feature of SUMIF. You have to create one intermediate sheet, and the advantage is this can help you to solve the problem much quicker. Okay, so this is one of the features where you can use it for the purpose of quickly finalizing your transactions. Okay, so this is the screenshots which I thought I should show it to you so that you have an idea how the output looks like, how you should prepare a pivot, and then how the pivot looks like. So a few advantages. All that you have to do is right click refresh the pivot, your financial becomes ready. But what is the challenge? The challenge is if there are regular changes to your master and updates, it becomes a little cumbersome. So my suggestion, get started with a trial client. You will get some comfort level, then you can take it to the next stage. Then comes, using SUMIF. I think that also I showed it to you, where you have a mapping sheet, and then of course you have a interim sheet with SUMIF, and then you have a final sheet which you just link it. Okay, so these are few things which I thought I should show you. Now coming to a powerful function, I have another 30 odd minutes. So let me quickly take you through a few powerful functions. How do I use Tally add-ons? Under that, the first thing which I'm going to take you through, one add-on, the concept, and it's fairly good because it is feature rich if you ask me. It is loaded with good number of features. See, one of the practical challenges which we face is, how do I push the data from my client's source system, or it could be my client's bank account, or for that matter, forget about bank account, even from basic software or a basic, sales book to my Excel. I take a lot of time. I have to sit and pass journal entries, etc. Can I build in a system through which automatically, thanks through Excel, I can push or import the data? That is what I'm going to show you. So what do I do for that? So for that, my dear friends, I am going into another sheet. Okay, and this is basically a bank statement. So before that, first and foremost, what I should ensure is, do I have the required things? What is my problem statement? Let us clearly define. Because many times in the urge of using a tool, we forget what our problem statement is. That is something which we should be very careful. So what we will do, my dear friends, first let us understand my problem statement. My problem statement is, I have no standardized chart of accounts. That is my problem statement number one. Why? One client uses some other name, this client uses some other. No doubt if your client is maintaining, okay. If you are only maintaining, why should you not have a standardized chart of accounts? And what is a standardized chart of accounts? The ledger and the parent, that's all. That is a standardized. You make it for everybody. Now you must be thinking, sir, how can every client have the same chart of accounts? I agree. Personal ledgers, your current liabilities, current assets, all those things are difficult. But expenses, at least 70% is common. Your income or categories of income to some extent is common. So define common chart of accounts. Then what we will do, we will import the chart of accounts into Tally. The moment we import chart of accounts, it brings in all our clients to have some sort of a consistent pattern. Step number one. Step number two, what we can do after this is, can I bring in a system where my entire bank statement I can import into Tally? That is possible. Can I import my entire sales into Tally? Possible. Can I import my entire payroll file into Tally? Again, possible. And for that, we use an add-on called E2Tally Soft. Excel to Tally Soft. This was developed by, I think, Windsor Infotech. So if I click on help options, about us, I think the company's details will appear. Windsor Infotech, this is licensed to me. Of course, serial number, I should hide it, but nevertheless, this is basically one of the softwares which I have. Now, what I should do over here, or what actually works over here is, let me quickly take you through. What we will do, first and foremost, we will import what is called as the masters. So for that, they have developed a default template. The software has got that. So I just click on open the default template. The moment I click on yes, the data is getting loaded. And the moment the data is loaded, I have groups, ledgers, voucher names, some statistics. I will ignore the statistics for the time. Now I am telling the Tally, hey, you know what? Why don't you import all of this into Tally? for that, I will open a new account in Tally. So I'll go to Tally. Let me open a new account, select company, or create company. So we are doing it for BCAS. What is today's date? May 9. Okay, this is the name of the company. I just enter everything, ignore basic other features. 1, 4, I think 18. Okay, because I have the data of 18. Now the data is entered. Now look at this. I don't have any vouchers. And if I go click on accounts, ledgers, display the ledgers, I have only 2 ledgers. We all are aware that these are the 2 ledgers Tally has. Now what I do, my dear friends, I sort of go here and import all these groups, all these ledgers, and all these voucher types. Of course, there are some opening balances already over here. This also I will go ahead and import it. So all that I will do is go to the software, go to E2Tally, then I say import to Tally. What is it that I want to import? I want to import masters. The moment I click on masters, there is a small message which pops up and it says, hey, you know what? Are these 3 things you want to import? I say yes. Then I just say, okay. Now it says, this is the company you have open. Do you want to import it? I say, yes, go ahead. In a minute, it will import all the transactions. Please see the message which pops up on the screen. It is importing the ledgers now. It is asking me to wait. It says created 256, altered 2, created 2, altered 23, and the summary is here. How much time did it take? It was able to do it in a split of a minute, less than about 20 seconds. And how many ledgers? It is about 256 ledgers. Imagine tomorrow a client comes and asks you, sir, we were having Kacha books, now we want to have a proper set of books. We want to bring it into this method. How much time it will take? Quickly you can set it up and it's not very complicated. So are we clear? The first step all of us have done. The second step is, now I want to go to stage 2. All my ledger accounts are created. I now have to go to the next step where I will have to go ahead and figure out what should be the bank statement I have to upload. And this is where I feel that this particular tool has something which I liked it a lot. I've worked with few other add-ons. I've worked with few other TDLs. The beauty of this tool is this does not sit on your Tally. This sits on your Excel. From Excel, it automatically pushes to Tally. Unlike most of the other TDLs. For most of the TDLs, TDL is basically an add-on inside Tally, which will pull the data. Correct? So this is something which I liked it. Let us say I open a bank statement. Okay, so I'll close this because I don't want this for the time being. This sheet also I don't think I'll require. Let me close this. And here is my bank statement. Now this is HDFC Bank Limited, one of the bank statement. Now what I want to do is, I have this transactions which most of us know. Now many of us know there is a whole lot of time which is spent in entering bank statement. All of us agree? Now, can I automate this exercise? Yes, it is possible. How do I do it? Only one small thing you have to do is catch hold of your article staff, ask your article staff to enter the name of the ledger against each of this. Can you find it here? Against each of this, they have to just enter in column H, remarks you enter, or you enter name of ledger. The moment the article staff enters, hypothetically, I am entering all of this transaction. I've already copy pasted because for want of time, I've just entered some random thing. These items have got entered. Now, the moment this is entered, my dear friends, now what happens? I go to the software. See, what is the purpose of the software? Let us understand. I want to import my bank statements. I certainly know a debit leg or the credit leg is definitely the bank. What I do not know is which is that other leg or which is the other ledger. So for that, this can be extremely handy. So what I do here, my dear friends, for this particular entry, there is a withdrawal of 1 rupee. Correct? Ignore the closing balance that comes with the bank statement. If there is a withdrawal of 1 rupee, what is the meaning of this? This, if you read it carefully, what does it indicate? It is actually bank charges. Hypothetically, I've put it as accumulated depreciation or air conditioner. Don't bother. Just to get the concept. Assuming even if I write bank charges, whatever is that, if I write the bank charges, the moment I write bank charges, what is the entry it should pass? Bank charges debit. the respective bank credit. That is what I want. Can the system automatically do? That is the beauty. I go to E to Tally. Okay. Now it has one more power feature called convert data. Under this, it has major 5 to 6 categories: bank, services, sales, purchases, salaries, and receipt and payment. I find this bank as one very powerful feature. I click on bank. The moment I click on bank, it says, where is the bank statement? I'm saying a bank statement is already open. What is the name of the bank? It is asking me to enter. Alternatively, I can say connect to Tally. The moment I say connect to Tally, it is now opened my Tally and it displays which are all the bank ledgers which are there in my Tally. Look at this. It basically goes and filters the bank ledger. I know this is HDFC, so I choose HDFC account. Then I go click on column heading. Under column heading, I go click on narration. The moment I click on narration, I just say, okay, look at this. In a split second, automatically the fields have got filled. And this is the corresponding ledger field. This corresponding, I can either choose it as a ledger or as a column. Ledger may not be so very useful because I have to choose one ledger against all of them. I choose an option called column. The moment I click on column, I choose where is the column. I choose there is a separate column called name of the ledger. This is nothing but to complete the double entry, the other leg of the entry, whether it's debit or credit, whatever. The moment I've choose this, all that I have to do is I click on convert data. Now it converts the data based upon certain prerequisite purpose. Let us not bother. Only thing you have to do is in this stage, double check whether everything is come. So narration by default, it takes all the description. The debit and credit, it automatically takes it. Value date, it takes. Instrument number, if you have anything, it takes. Then I go click on preview vouchers. The moment I click on preview vouchers, look at this. All the journal entries are ready for me. I repeat, all the journal entries are ready. Look at this. Bank charges account debit, HDFC account credit. It is a payment voucher. HDFC account debit, accumulated billing. Again, as I told you, I've just chosen some random name. Correct? So all the journal entries are ready. I just browse for the folder. I say for the timing, put it in desktop, HDFC overdraft account, with BCAS. And the moment I say save, it says the data has been exported. Do you want to open the file? I said, please go ahead. I have this data ready. All that I have to do is go back to the software. And if you want, you can do a validation if you want to. Just without too much tension, just go click on import to Tally. This time I want to import vouchers. It is saying, just go ahead and import. What is the message? It says, do you want to open? This is a company which is open. Please confirm if you want to import the vouchers. I just say, okay. It does some validation before importing. I just say yes. Please look into what happens. It is validating. It is loading. It is now importing. And it's over. Okay. So basically this entire process, my dear friend, how much time did it take? Now this is 41 because I showed you only 41 vouchers in this particular bank statement. Even if it has 5,000 transactions, normally in a span of 5 to 10 minutes, it's able to complete. Now, assuming you are not able to figure out certain line items, and we know what we normally do. We just go choose suspense account and go ahead. So this is one such case of how you are able to bring in automation. Please see this. Earlier, there was no data vouchers. Today, now it says 12th May. If I go to my bank account, if I go to my current assets, even if I go to my bank account here, I think it was under OT, right? So it's under bank OT. I see the entire transactions entered. Of course, if you are doing this in your software, my very important recommendation or suggestion is please ensure you take one backup, because sometimes accidentally you might, land up in doing something else. So take a backup and then go ahead. Okay, so this is basically how you use it. And this is a software called as Excel to Tallysoft. A couple of useful softwares which I thought, which is quite handy, something I should share it with you. The next, this is something which, we sort of did it. And this is, something on a small scale or larger scale, depends upon a case by case. This is how we bring in robotic process automation, RPA. Now, what is RPA? RPA is nothing but regular activities or regular transactions we repeatedly do. Can I bring in an automated environment so that it will go to the Excel sheet, pick up the item and then do it. So this is a basically RPA based solution, robotic process based solution for Tally. Okay, so let's see how it works. Tally is opened. It may look a little slow in your screen. It will take few minutes. Okay, there is a format like this, which you see over here. And we have written the basic details, copying from bank statement. We go to the RPA software called Zappy. From that Zappy, I just go ahead and get started. So I've started this exercise. This is basically the workflow. Then I just have to go to my voucher. I've opened my voucher. I go back to this Zappy and I say, hey, you know what? Start. And after this, just like how you are watching the screen, I also have to watch the screen because the journal entries are automatically getting passed. This is the power of robotic process automation, where I understand the quality may not be very great. It may be slightly, in a different format, but this is basically what is possible. And none of these entries are manually being processed. It is the robot which is automatically doing. And that is why you're able to see it so much entries being fast so quickly. Of course, what are the variants this robot can do? Whether your PDF statement can it read, whether your scanned statement can it read, all those are questions, but it can definitely do it. But there will be some amount of, 100% accuracy is not possible. If you want 100% accuracy, we have to build in some amount of intelligence into the software. So that becomes a little challenging, but yes, this is what robotic process automation can do. From Excel, we are trying to directly push it into this. So those of you who have heard my presentation earlier, you're seeing it once again. This is something new in my presentation. I keep on adding something new in my presentation every time. Otherwise, I feel boring, because I speak the same topic everywhere. So I have to add something new. So every presentation I do, I add something new, and that's the only way I learn. Okay. Anyway, so this is just to give you a sample or a demo how multiple transactions can pass it. So if you see over here, it says successfully completed, passing 14 entries. So if you see, it is nothing but from Excel, it copy pasted and pushed it. And that is basically one of these RPA based solutions. Next, reverse. How do I export my data from Tally to Excel? We all know that we can go to Tally and export it. But do I have an add-on facility? The answer is yes. So again, here there are two solutions which I would like to tell it to you. This Excel to Tally soft itself has a feature called import from Tally. The moment you say daybook and you say transactions, you click on transactions. In a minute, whatever journal entries you have passed, it will bring it to you. So you just have to say when the financial year began. So I go back to my Tally to check when my financial year is. Here it is 18-19. So I go here, I just say 1-4-18 to 31-3-19, and I can choose whatever I want. Assuming I want opening balance also, I can choose parent, primary, group. Again, here it is asking, should I choose all ledgers or only if it is greater than 0? I say everything. The moment I say okay, look at this. In a few seconds, all the journal entries, including opening balance, closing balance, parent name, debit, credit, everything appears in this particular screen at one shot. I repeat, my dear friends, at one shot you can get this report. Now see how beautiful this is. Now, in fact, I did not understand, I had a challenge. I was dealing with a client who is based out of a foreign country. They had to use some sort of a consolidation of Indian companies' books. The challenge I had was, in Tally, I was not able to give in the format and I had to spend a whole lot of time in just formatting the daybook. Today, I don't require to spend so much time. I just click open, export everything to Tally. In a span of 2 minutes, my entire daybook comes. Now, what they have done is, based upon the format of daybook, they have developed a macro which will basically push everything into the format, and consolidation becomes so quickly. Correct? So these are examples. Now, what you can do as variances, you can choose not to select the opening balance and closing balance. You can choose only the transactions, then only these will appear. Okay. Now, you can also probably choose under the daybook an option called as ledger voucher. If I click ledger voucher, all the transactions of a particular ledger alone can appear. So I go click and choose 1/4/2018. Of course, I have to choose the date every time. 31/3/19. 2019. And I have an option called extract. Only select ledgers I want, I can do it. So I go click on ledgers. Whichever ledger I want, only those ledgers will appear. Alternatively, I can just click on parent. Only those parent ledgers will appear. Can you find over here? Only the parents appear here. So I choose bank account and bank OD. The moment I say okay, all the bank accounts OD will appear here. Here, coincidentally, only HDFC Bank has a balance. It appears here. Alternatively, I can go click on parent and I can probably choose the list of parents, whichever appears over here. And I can choose only that particular. For example, here I've chosen only HDFC account. I can just say, click OK. I can also click on give me an index. The software will automatically create an index and give me, and I just say OK. So this is basically how analytic tools can be used. And the moment it is done, the dashboard or the result appears. Correct? So this is basically what I wanted to take you through. Of course, the result is loading. It will take a few minutes. Once it is done, your entire ledger voucher appears. Now, one must be thinking, sir, what is the power of this? What is the advantage of this? Don't you think if I export it to Excel, I will get all of them? My dear friends, from Tally to Excel, you can only bring it to a particular format. After that, there is a whole lot of exercise which you have to do. Why don't I build in tools like this, which can solve my problem? Why don't I use tools like this, which can neutralize or do things much more quicker? And that is the power of these particular software. Okay, so that is basically on one of the softwares which I thought of showing it to you. And of course, you can instead of going to this, there is another alternate option called TCAT, and TCAT is Tally based CAT. Okay, so Tally based CAT is basically where you have multiple options, and under that you have again daybook, whatever we spoke about. You can also have company's profile. Like for example, if you click on general info, it'll go, if you just choose select all, the profile of the entire company will appear. Your entire Tally data, whatever configuration is there, everything will come at one shot. It is just generating this. It is successfully imported. Look at this. It has created one index also. So I go to this. It tells, okay, this is for those of you who want to keep a documentation. This is possible. It says, okay, see, password policy. None of the security controls are enabled. This is the system information. This is basically the name of the file configuration. This is basically the license information. This is basically the VAT configurations. So you can see how much of information is possible at a click of a button. There's another software called TallyCat, TCAT. And the audit reports which we saw here, all of those are also possible. Here there is also GSTR 2A matching. Those reports are also available. You can just go ahead and explore it. So this is basically what is possible. This is called as a TallyCat, TCAT. Okay. Coming back to my presentation, few other possibilities. This I picked up in few of the websites of certain third parties. Hotel software customization, restaurant software customization, invoice software customization, job work software, Tally export features, bulk SMS, whole lot of things are possible. Is a question of how I try to do it. And I'm not sure many of them are aware. There is something called Tally Shop. So if I go to my Tally and I just go click on Tally Shop over here on top, correct? It takes you through this. And here there are various apps which are available, add-ons. These add-ons, what will happen is they're priced at a very, very nominal listing, but it may not solve all your problems. So only thing is this add-on is like a TDL. In fact, this add-on is a TDL. See, for example, for invoicing itself, I have 200 options. Now you can choose which method you want. And these are all the various companies who have actually built this. And I think by default, there is some standardized price if you use it, or you can approach your Tally vendor for customization. But this is more important from a client angle. From an auditor angle or from an accountant angle, I think these are lesser important, but definitely good features to have. So if you visit Tally Shop, again, there is a whole lot of things you can go ahead and explore. And last is the CAT tools. Probably I'll just take a minute to quickly take you through because we're coming towards the end. Let us presume I have my daybook. For want of time, I will just show only a CAT tool feature. Let us say I'm just showing some test data. Of course, I've requested the BCS if I could do one more session on data analytics because I'm slowly going one level by one level. I first gave you a perspective of Excel, rather than Excel. First is professional tools. Then I spoke about Tally automation. Then maybe I'll speak about how data analytics can be done. And probably if time requires on various things, we'll also speak about various areas, ABCD of technology, etc. If not me, I'm sure there are multiple experts who can speak. But this is just for us to upgrade ourselves and decide how we have to take our life career ahead. Okay, so one thing we'll probably make a mention, assuming this is the sales file, and this sales file, it has the sales invoice number, name of the person, and user ID. I'll just give you one small thing before I sort of give it to the organizers. So this is basically what I'm using, a software called as ECAT. Okay, this is just to say how analytics can be applied on any digital data. See, one of the major things which we start off is, the moment we get data, we get started off with how to use this data and start working on it. But little do we spend the time on analyzing the patterns or trend. One pattern or trend which you can do, which most of us are aware, we pick up samples. How do we pick up samples? Anything over here, you go pick it up. If you pick up anything whenever you feel like, that will not be called as random sampling. Random sampling is possible only when we use the law of random numbers. So here I write random numbers. How do I write random numbers? Very simple formula is equal to RAND, bracket open, bracket close, is equal to RAND, bracket open, bracket close. Hit enter. I have got this value. Go on this, double click towards the edge, which is basically a flash fill. It fills all these values. Now look at the beauty of this. These values, you also don't know how I've got. I also don't know how I've got. In fact, if you use this, you will get some other values. Forget that. If I just press F2 and hit enter, see what happens? Every time I hit enter, the entire value changes. Why? That's why it's called random. So now what I do, I copy this entire information, paste special these, and quickly apply a filter and go to my filter and say, hey, you know what? Go to number filter and choose top 10. Under that, there is an option called top 30 items. Just go ahead and say okay. Now I have chosen top 30 based upon column F. But what is column F? Some random number. And this is what my difference is actually random sampling. Correct? Now, instead of doing this, I may probably want to use an alternative method. And what is that alternative method? Stratified random sampling. To do a stratification, I should know what are the sales buckets or sales groups. For that, what I do, I again go back to this particular software. Okay. Again, as I said, this is just one perspective. There are hundreds of softwares available, but this is just to give you a thought process. So what I do, I go to this option called as sampling, based upon profile, something called as stratified random sampling. So I click on number. Now what is the numerical field over here? It will automatically analyze in a, by going through this, it will analyze what are all the numerical fields. The numerical fields are invoice number and sales. Correct? So numerical fields are invoice numbers and sales. So the moment I choose sales, it is saying 500 is the minimum value. Maximum value is 22,600. Incremental value is something. So I just enter 25,000 as incremental value. The moment I choose this, I have an option called autofill. Click on autofill, all the buckets automatically appear here. The moment it appears, I just choose OK. Let's see what happens now. It is now converting this entire sale under these buckets. Now look at this beautiful report. At one shot, you are able to get to know how many stratum of data are available and what is the percentage under each of them. 69% versus 27%. 19% of count versus 36% of value. Don't you think you can do your ABC analysis? The answer is yes. Now what you do, you click on sampling. You can pick up how much percentage of samples you want. Maybe here, I want a sample size of 10. Here, I want a sample size of 10. Whereas here, I want a sample size of 3, 3, 1, 1, 1, and 1. The moment I choose this, I just say extract. In a click of a button, the entire thing is extracted based upon this respective category, and I get the value for my analysis. I hope you're able to see this. Correct? So this is how quickly I am able to do this sampling. I can double click, I can do any sort of a filtering, and of course I can save it on my Excel for my documentation purposes. So this is the power of CAT tools, how you can apply. In fact, CAD tools itself can do a whole lot of things, so I'll not spend too much time into this. This is what I intended to cover. This is just a case study that is only depending upon time. These are a few powerful tools which are available as CAD tools. One can go ahead and explore this. Many of these tools are available. It is left at your choice. On that note, I hope I added some amount of thought process. As I told you, I don't have a key message here because I wanted to give you a practical hands-on perspective of various features, tools, etc. Wherever the tools are there, I've given you the contact references. You can, if you feel interested, go ahead and contact. Or there are hundreds of features available. You have to focus on the features. Automatically, the tool, you'll be able to find it. Over to the organizers for questions.